Okay, looks like we are good to go. Welcome to today's Q&A. My name is Jesse, here with Decker Truckline. We're talking trucking. We're talking Decker Truckline. So welcome to today. It is the 15th of July. Yes, just rolling through July as quickly as we can, it seems like. Anyways, this is a Q&A. So if you have any questions about Decker Truckline, questions about our benefits, the different positions that we have available, any of the recent updates, feel free to ask. That's what we're here for. So you can put the question in the chat and I'll answer them as they come in. In the meantime, I do want to tell you a little bit more about the positions that we have available and kind of fill you in on some news, some awards that we were seeing. So, hey, Sean, how are you? Good to have you on, bud. So, first of all, Brent Ellis, he is our business systems and processes here at Decker. He's our VP of business systems and processes here at Decker. But he recently was awarded the 2025 Heavy Duty Truck Fleet Innovator. There we go. So he was one of, is it 4 or 5 that were recognized. So we want to give him a huge shout out and congratulations, of course, for earning that title. There's an article in Heavy Duty Truck if you get an opportunity. Actually, you know what? Let me go grab that and I'll share it. I think there was 5 of them who were recognized. But, Brent's one we're celebrating the most. No, congratulations to them all. It's very exciting. Let's see if that worked. I'm not sure it did. We'll try one more time. There we go. Anyways, so that is, I'm going to see if I can delete the one that I put on there. It's not correct. Remove. It worked. All right, good deal. Anyways, we're going to be talking a little bit more about home time and pay and all that good stuff. And of course, we had questions yesterday on our live on about the minimum pay, what that's all about, and how to earn it. And so we'll visit a little bit about that as well. If you missed yesterday's live, we did go over quite a bit of that information, but we didn't spend a whole lot of time going over the details on the new positions and equipment and stuff like that. So I definitely want to spend some time going over those. A couple of reminders right out of the gate. It's summer, in case you weren't aware, it's summer. But idle numbers are going to be up or tend to be up because of air conditioning and, the APU and all that stuff. So, what I should stress is use your APU. If you're having problems with it, call our shops, call maintenance support. That's what they're there for. They're going to help you problem solve all of that. Plus, if you look on our YouTube channel here, you have access to a number of videos that Decker has put together. Between our maintenance shop and myself, we've put together a number of videos to help troubleshoot those APUs. And it's not like digging in deep and knowing all the mechanics of it. That's not necessarily how some of the troubleshooting can happen on your end. It's just a simple, push this button first, turn it all the way on, crank it all the way up type of thing, and then bring it back down to where you want. I mean, it's just little tricks like that sometimes work. But if that APU is in fact not working, you need to make sure that you're reaching out to our maintenance support so that we can take care of that for you. If you idle a lot, especially in this heat, it's going to put a lot more strain on the engine and it's going to increase the maintenance costs, which we've got a really good handle on our maintenance costs. And of course, because of the type of equipment we have, we've got newer model trucks, not just trucks, but trucks and trailers. But with the trucks themselves, we have newer models, and that helps to keep the maintenance on top of it. Plus our techs, of course, are rock stars certified. So please just let us know if you're having any problems with it. Those APUs are in there for your own comfort to be able to relax and cool down at night without having to stress about it. So yeah, just let us know. Hey Mike, how are you? We're doing well. Do drivers get the same miles as before the huge economic turndown? I would say, um, let me better define that, because I want to make sure that I'm using the same time frame as you are, because there was this massive number of miles, right? We were seeing that right at the peak of the pandemic, because there were a lot of people that weren't going out. It's weird to say the pandemic, and hopefully everybody still remembers. No, just kidding. I mean, in a good way, not of course with the pain and stuff that a lot of experience, but I mean just it seems like we're pulling further and further away from it, but we're starting to see the aftermath of a lot of that throughout the economy. I think a lot of you guys recognize that. Um, these drivers are not working for Swift Team Prime, etc. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, we've just raised some of our numbers as far as our scorecard bonus. We raised the average number of miles that you need to earn or need to run in order to make the minimum point basis for the scorecard bonus. And the reason we did that is because we have the miles. I mean, you don't want to raise those until you're getting them on a consistent basis. And so we are. Last year, we started about this time, we actually started restructuring quite a bit of stuff, which, and when I say stuff, I mean we're looking at the way that we're dispatching. We're looking at the way that we're planning the loads, and then just working our way back. We really emphasize or really looking at the numbers when it comes to what customers we're working with, what areas we're working with our drivers. I mean, even qualifying factors. Those are all considered throughout, and we did a little bit more studying with it. The cool thing is with so much technology, so many advancements in technology, we're able to do some of those deep dives that we might not have been able to do before. And so with those deep dives that we've been working on, we can look at an area and look at the freight that's coming in and out of there, and we can look at the customers and the contracts that way and say, okay, this is a good contract for us. We're going to continue moving forward with it. Or this just really hasn't been a great contract for us because it's inconsistent or something. There's so many factors, and I'm just throwing a few out. But because of that, we have seen an increase in our miles. We've been awarded additional freight. Our flatbed division is seeing huge increases, and our refrigerated division and van too, but refrigerated is seeing increases as well. But flatbed most definitely, and actually so much that we've increased our sign-on bonus in areas. We have we didn't have a sign-on bonus for a while, but we increased it to $4,000 and $5,000 in some areas. We have an $8,000 sign-on bonus in the Midwest. So it's all based off of where you live, and of course the division that you're going into. So if you guys are interested, please give us a call. The number that's coming across the screen back and forth, that's the number to our recruiting department, and they'll be able to answer those questions for you. It's 877-233-2537 to give you a little bit of info on that. Let's see. Daniel says, hey, I saw on job search for refrigerated Summerville, South Carolina. Is that available? Let's look. Oh, I lost your zip code. 29483. There we go. I'm just gonna pull up the area. I would say, yeah, refrigerated, definitely. So you've got refrigerated, you've got flatbed in your area. With refrigerated, you're looking at about 11 days out and 3 days home in your area. You can also do the 2 to 3 weeks out at a time, and then 5 days home. So Daniel, yes, the answer is yes. If you're looking for refrigerated out of Summerville, we do have that opportunity. Mike says some new trucks break down so much they have the bankrupted trucking companies. Yeah, I think with the PACCAR engines, he says, yeah, we've definitely seen, when we're looking at different trucks and Mal's going through some of them, we usually get a few at a time, and then we'll test. Like we got the 589s, those 589s, nice trucks, man. We started, I think, with 10 to kind of test drive those, I mean, literally. But I was getting input from a lot of the 10 drivers. I had the maintenance department, I had safety department, wanting certain updates. And so they would check in with me, let me know how it was going for the first month or two when they were getting those trucks. So I think that's important before you start diving in and purchasing a whole bunch of them. Let's make sure that this model, this era is working really well for us, right? So I think it's a good point, Mike. Yeah. What else? So refrigerated. So out of Somerville, absolutely. I do want to give you guys a heads up that scorecard. If you're familiar with Decker, if you're part of the Decker family already, then you know that we have 2 monthly bonuses. We have a scorecard bonus, and which is a performance bonus, by the way. And then we also have the Lytx safety bonus. So I want to talk a little bit about those. We'll talk more about those, like really deep dive into them next week, because that's when those bonuses pay out. But the numbers are out on our TransFlow app. So you can access your scorecard and your Lytx safety scores right now on the TransFlow app. If you go into the dashboard and click on the link there, or click on the box, it'll bring you to the individual dashboards to let you see what your score is. Now, we are making changes from July moving forward for the driver scorecard, some of those thresholds. So we're making some changes there, but the numbers you're going to see this right now and for next week getting paid out on it, those are from the previous thresholds. So the ones that are coming up, the minimum bonus threshold is going to increase from $825 to $850. And I guess let me backpedal a little bit so you can have a big picture of what this is all about. Our scorecard, the main bonus, it's 1,000 points, okay? And that's going to get you, if you get a full 1,000 points, that's going to get you 4 cents per mile on all of the miles that you completed for that previous month. So everything, since we're moving forward with it, I'm going to use the month of July as the example. So all of the miles that you completed for July, meaning you've delivered them in July, are going to go into the August payout. So they're July bonuses, but it's paid out the third pay period of August. But the 1,000 points pays out 4 cents per mile. Okay, so if you get that perfect score, what this minimum bonus threshold is saying is that you can still make money on your bonus even if you don't get that full 1,000 points. If you get 850 or above, so it used to be 825, now the requirement is 850. So 850 or above, then you can get 1 cent a mile. So, and there's different levels. It's 1, 2, 3, or of course 4 cents per mile on all the miles that you completed for the month. So that's one of the changes that we did. Claims category, we increased. My fault, you went weird. The claims category, we increased the points. Each section, each criteria has different points designated for them. So claims is now at 150. It was at 100 last time. This month it's at 100. So moving forward, July on, it is now 150 points for that category. CSA, we just removed the CSA altogether because if you have a CSA violation, it's going to void the bonus for the month anyway. So we got rid of that. Fuel compliance, there's different tiers for the fuel compliance based off of the percentage of compliance that you are. That's a full 100 points if you meet the fuel tier compliance, or different tiers that you have. Then we have the minimum idle threshold right now. We lowered that to 14. It was at 15%, so it's tightened that up a little bit for the idle. Remember how important idle is, keeping a good control over that, because especially with fuel costs, You want to make sure that you've got a good handle on it. And like we mentioned earlier, it can have a big effect on the wear and tear and maintenance costs. And then Opti-Idle, which you see more Opti-Idle in our, I'd say, Freightliners. That is a little bit different than regular idle, obviously, because you have less control over the Opti-Idle. But so Opti-Idle was reduced from the 25 to the 24%. Service failures increased by 100, so they're now worth 200 points for that category for service failures, meaning on late deliveries. And then we've got mile tiers. This is what I was talking about before. Each of our divisions has actually increased the number of miles required to meet that bonus, which is good because that means we're getting the miles. So a huge shout out to all of the departments, all the support staff behind the scenes that have been working to get those for you. But yeah, that's a plus for that reason, at least, right? Hey Jeff, how are you, man? My fellow Montanan. So yeah, it's those are a few of the changes. Again, the full points are still 1,000 for the extra 4 cents a mile. Now, I want you to go through your scorecard and your analytics this week. If you haven't already, please do so. But the reason I want you to do that is so that you can review it with your driver leader. If there's any discrepancies, which hopefully there aren't, but if there are, you want to take care of those ahead of time because payout is actually on Monday. I'm pointing to my calendar here. Payout is on Monday, and so we want to, nip that right away. And if there's a discrepancy, we want to make sure that we are getting that taken care of right away. Instead of after the fact, because then you're chasing paperwork at that point. But yeah, so double check that with your driver leader. You can also review the analytics with safety if you need to. But, I think it should be pretty clear, but if it's not, don't hesitate to ask. Okay, so I think did I mention all of the categories? It's the idle. So we have idling is worth 200 points total, but there's different tiers of it. Compliance worth 100, again, different tiers. The Opti-Idle and the idle, those are going to be like, they have the same tiers, they're just different percentages assigned to them because, again, Opti-Idle will kick on at certain times and off. Miles, 150 points total for the miles, and again, you've got the division there. Each division will have its own mile requirement. Claims are 150. Service failures, I mentioned, went up to 200 from now on, and preventable accidents is worth 200 too. So if you had a preventable accident within the month, within the time period, then you're forfeiting any of those accidents or any of those points. Actually, same type of thing with the service failures. So now the different levels are 1,000 is still at that 4 cents per mile. 950 to 999 still at the 3 cents a mile. 900 to 949, just under 950, is going to be an extra 2 cents a mile. And then again, we raised it from 825 to 850. So 850 to 899 is going to give you an extra penny per mile on all the miles that you've completed for that month. So there you go. Now that's the scorecard. The safety bonus can add another penny per mile on all the miles that you earned or ran for the previous month. So same mileage, same miles that it's going off of. But with the Lytx safety scoring, that's that formula is a little bit different because it's based off of, say you drove 10,000 miles and you had any event, like critical event, that is marked in the Lytx score system, and you'll be able to see this, by the way, on your Lytx scoring within the TransFlow app with the Lytx scoring numbers. But say you had a failure to keep in your lane. That's worth 8 points. Okay, so it's a critical event. It will kick on the recorder. The Lytx system is our safety unit. So it has inward and outward event recorders, cameras. It has sensors on lane departure, speed gauge, following distance, hard braking, all of those are evaluated, right? So if a critical event occurs, then the camera will start rolling, start recording. And it actually pulls back 10, well, is it 10 seconds or I gotta remember. I think it's 10 seconds in total. So anyways, any of those critical events will have a point assigned to them. If it's a following distance or a failure to keep on your lane, you're looking at 8 points. Okay, so that's 8 points. And but that doesn't necessarily mean that you lose your safety bonus because you had those 8 points. What happens is if you have those 8 points for this particular incident, then and you drove, let's say you drove 10,000 miles, then you're taking your 8 points, you're multiplying the 8 points by 8, and then you're going to add 200, and that 200, so you've got these scores, right? So, and then you'll have the 10,000 as well. So basically what happens is it's 8 times 8, which is your 64, and then you're going to divide that by 200, right? 8 by 8, 200, yep. And that's going to get you 0.32. The scoring system's a little bit different, but it's all drawn out for you in the newsletter this week because I figured it would be a little easier for you guys to look at. But that's how it's calculated. So when you're looking at your score and you have a 0.4 or a 0.32, and you're like, hey, did I get the bonus? You did get the bonus. You earned the bonus. You might not have had a perfect score, but you still earned the bonus. If you have 0.5 or more, then you wouldn't meet the bonus. You wouldn't earn it. So that means basically that you've had multiple events. So the scoring will look different probably compared to, it's not, they're not whole numbers and you're probably wondering why. Well, it's because it's based off of the miles that you ran and the events that you had. But it's all broke out so that if you see the numbers, I should probably move it over to the whiteboard so you can see it. But if you saw the numbers, you would understand it better. And that's why we provided those examples for you in the newsletter. Makes life a little bit easier. Hey, Bobby, how are you? Miami, Florida. I bet you're warm. Mike says, sorry, Mike. Idle causes deaf regeneration to go up exponentially. APUs are the way to go. Yes, definitely. We gotta save those, right? And actually, we've done a couple of things. So we of course want to have a good handle on idling, but we also, with our APU units, and they're the newer model, we do a lot of testing, we've done some upgrades to them, but we've also put the solar panels on some of our trucks. Most of our trucks, I think, have them now. We were in the process, but our trucks have solar panels on them for the APU. You're like, what are electric trucks? No, they are, they're APU. The solar panels are for the APUs to basically give them a little bit more of a boost, extend the life of it. So it's not so difficult, when you're turning those suckers on. Mike says, what speed are Decker trucks governed at? 68 on the cruise, which is what we prefer you to be in, and versus 65 on the pedal. I should probably clarify, if you're in the construction zone or if you're on ice, cruise is not the way to go. But, when you're out on the road and you've got these long stretches, and we love it when you're on cruise because it is more fuel efficient in most cases. Most cases, not every, but most. So yeah, that's why it's 68 on the cruise, 65 on the pedal. Thank you, Mike. Appreciate that question. You know how okay, sorry, this is just funny and this is what just made me think. But you know how every once in a while you'll see people will plant people to ask questions in the chats? Mike, whether you want it or not, you're planted in there. You've got great questions and I love it. All right, sorry, this is side thought. It just was funny to me. He's not, by the way, but it's funny. Shamika from Louisiana. Well, hello, Shamika Styles. My video is glitching out. Yes, I bet it is. We've got, a praise for sure. It is raining like crazy. Well, not crazy, but it's been raining pretty hard for um, probably the last 16 hours, which we needed it. I'm in Montana, and we want to avoid any forest fires. So we're quite thankful, and so are our farmers, that we have some rain. But whenever I have rain, my dang video glitches like crazy. I do like to have it on the computer versus my phone because, especially with the closed captions, because we do have a couple of drivers who prefer the closed captions and prefer or need the closed captions. So yeah, but thank you, Shamika. I will do my best. I know we're supposed to get some fiber optics here in the area soon. We're hoping for that for sure. Shamika asks, I was wondering if I qualify for the sign-on bonus plan. Is this about buying a truck from you? This is not. We don't currently, well, we don't currently have lease purchase or owner operator positions, or we don't currently have lease purchase positions available right now. However, we have our Decker truck and trailer sales, which isn't necessarily Decker Truck Line, but it is one of the Decker companies. We do sell trucks. And if you have questions on that, my best thing to do is to get you to Jordan so that you have the answers on the equipment that is actually available instead of giving you like, I think it's still available. I don't know. But yeah, Jordan would be the one that I need to have you get with if you're looking to buy a truck. Most of what I'm talking about is company positions. And for those company positions, we do have a sign-on bonus. For the refrigerated, we have a $4,000 sign-on bonus in your area, which would get you, which pays out. Actually, I have flatbed and refrigerated sign-on bonus in your area. The $4,000 pays out within the first 12 months. You get $1,000 on your 6-month anniversary. You'll get another $1,000 on your 9-month anniversary, and the remaining $2, add up to 4, is on your 1-year anniversary, so on your 12 months. So, but Shamika, to further answer your question, the sign-on bonus is available in the refrigerated division if you have at least 2 years of experience and no more than 3 jobs within the last 18 months. So longevity is a factor, and of course the amount of experience is a factor for the refrigerated division. As far as the flatbed division, we don't have those same requirements, but the payout is still at 6 months, 9 months, and 1 year or 12 months. So, yeah. So it just depends on which one you're looking to get into, which division. As far as running lanes, I do want to kind of take a minute to go through that, both for, let's see, I had Daniel had mentioned Somerville, and then with Shamika with Louisiana, I do want to answer some of the running areas and the timeouts to give you an idea of what to expect there. So with running areas, most of our refrigerated, it can go coast to coast. A lot of it is in the Midwest. You're real heavy within the Midwest, whether you're running out west a lot or you're running more towards the east. And by the way, when I'm talking east, yes, it can be all 48 states, but most of it's like south of, we don't do a whole lot of the New England states is what I'm getting at. Every once in a while we'll have something, maybe some ice cream or something into the Buffalo area or southwest New York, but most of it is going to be in the Midwest. And then out west for our over-the-road division, out west, we've got lanes in Washington and in California. Now, just because these are areas that we run, we don't have availability, hiring availability in all of them, but we do have freight in all these areas that I'm mentioning. But California and Washington, Utah, Oregon, Montana, Arizona. We have opened up hiring in Arizona that we didn't have for a while. Same with Utah and parts of Oregon and Washington. So good opportunities there. But anyways, back to the running areas and running lanes. You're looking, Shamika, you can stay out 11 days at a time and be home for 3, or you can be out 21 days and home for 5. Those are usually our rotations in your area. And same with you, Daniel, out of the Somerville area. You're looking at 11 days out with 3 days home, or 21 days out with 5 days home. So we've got that. Mike said, you just said that the bonus point system is all laid out somewhere, must be somewhere at the Decker website. Oh, yes, Mike. Oh, it is laid out in our Facebook group, within the Decker Facebook group, so that everybody understands it. When you're dealing with it, the numbers might not make sense to you because you wouldn't see the point system without having the equipment on the truck, like in front of you. But yes, it's all there. I also sent it out in our weekly newsletter yesterday, just as a reminder, since it's coming up. I figured it would be worth everybody's time to kind of have that refresher of what it is. Mike also says that solar panels to charge the battery so the APU does not have to cycle on as often. Do you run an inverter too? We do run an inverter. Yeah, we have an 1800 watt inverter in the trucks. The solar panel helps, especially when starting the APU, so it just doesn't put as much, what do I want to say? It just doesn't overload it. There's a word I want, and I can't figure out what it was. Anyways, but yeah, it does help quite a bit with that APU. We tried it for a while. Man, it's probably been 2 years when we first started trying those solar panels, and then we were like, yep, putting them on all of them. Those are nice. Shamika says, I am set up to come out to orientation with you, and I'm trying to learn a bit about the company before I come. Good idea. That's fantastic. I just wanted to watch to try to understand better. Okay, fair enough. Don't hesitate to ask questions. That's what we're here for. So let's talk about the orientation process, since you're getting into that, and then we can, that way you kind of have a good feel for it, although your recruiter probably is giving you full detail as well. But again, for the refrigerating at 21 days out at a time or 11 days out at a time, and then of course your home time will be a reflection on that. We have minimum pay, and the minimum pay is basically just means that you won't get paid less than that particular amount. As long as you meet all of the qualifications and stuff, you won't get paid less than that. That's not your goal though, right? That minimum pay is like a safety net. And I want to stress that because yesterday we're kind of deep diving into some of the changes with the minimum pay. We had different criteria that were factors before. And so we've adjusted some of those, not hugely, but they were adjusted a little bit. And I think we kind of started diving in pretty, like giving all kinds of scenarios, which is not a bad thing. But remember that the minimum pay is it's a safety net. It is not your goal. Your goal is to make more, right? That $1,000 safety net is fantastic when it's there, but man, wouldn't you rather make $1,500, $1,700? Right? Yeah, I think so. Okay, but so I'm going to go through some of that criteria as well. With the minimum pay, you do need to be available for dispatch 21 days. If you're on the 21 and 5, you need to be available 21 days out on the road, and then you're home for 5. That would make you qualify for the minimum pay. So if you're out like 20 days and then home for 5, you're not meeting the qualifications at that point, right? So at least 21 days, 21 and 5. That's what's going to get you that minimum pay. That's not the only factor. It's just one of the factors. And I just wanted to clarify that because it's not our overall goal. It just happens to be there as a safety net for you. I was thinking I had more information. Oh, yes, for the minimum pay. Sorry, I was trying to think of what else I was missing for it. So be available for dispatch 21 days, or if you're doing the 11 and 3, be available for dispatch 11 days out on the road and then 3 days home. Another change that we had is get your paperwork in within the first 12 hours of delivering. So once you've delivered, you have 12 hours to get your paperwork in. Most of you guys do that, so it's not a huge difference to you, but it is a time saver to our payroll department because they're not chasing that paperwork and then we'd have outstanding. So get it in within the 12 hours. That'll be a lot better, a lot easier process for us. Mike says, hey, Shamika, I have spoken with Decker drivers out on the road, and they say that Decker treats them better than most companies do. Decker appears to be professional and well organized. Awesome. Man, I love it. In case you didn't know, we were named the top carrier for 2025 for best fleets to drive for in the large carrier division. I think it's always funny to me that it's large carrier because I'm like, we're not we're not a mega fleet, right? But we obviously stand up strong against them when it comes to our quality, our drivers, our awards that we've received. Not only awards as in like a trophy, but awards as in like the freight that we've received. So yeah, that's a huge team effort, and man, what an honor to be able to say that. It's so cool. Mike says, I had slow internet for 25 years. I got fiber 3 years ago. Nothing short of a miracle. I am hoping that is the case. Montana's a little slow to that. Shamika says, do I qualify for that or I am doing reefer and going to Iowa is the testing for driving hard and scary. I just got my CDL and I know how to drive, but I'm completely new. Oh, good question. Okay, so yours is a little bit different than some of our other orientations because you are new. So let's talk about that. Orientation is for an inexperienced driver. For you specifically, it is going to be 5 days. So 5 days for a student. And that is in Fort Dodge, Iowa, but it's after you've done your online orientation, which is a number of modules. So you'll have either a video, you'll have maybe an article, maybe even an interactive picture, which an interactive picture is picture the inside of the truck. So, and it'll have arrows to different things in the truck, or even under the hood. So you've got arrows to the fuel filter or the dipstick and all these different things. And then you click on each picture and then it'll pop up with an explanation. So that's an interactive image, excuse me. So those are some of the modules. After each of the main module, the picture, the video, or the article, then you'll have a couple of questions. And it could be 1 question, it could be 5 questions. And then you'll answer those questions before moving on to the next module. I know that was a lot of words. So it'll move you along. But you'll do that online orientation before even coming to Fort Dodge so that you've got that ahead of time. It does give you good insight into the company as well because you'll go over some policies and procedures, but you'll learn a little bit about the history of Decker and kind of the way we do things. And then, of course, when you're in Fort Dodge, you'll do a deeper dive on that. And you'll meet a lot of the individuals, so you'll get to know people and make those connections. But also before orientation, we also have you do a new physical. In your case, I imagine that your physical is good for another year or so, maybe